Today, SACCOs have dragged Bank of Uganda and the Attorney General to court as they challenge Central Bank to bring them under their regulation. Ministry of Works and Transport confirms rollout of price indicator number plates for November. Kampala will dig ground, and in Kasese, Nyakatozi farmers record losses as elephants and antelopes break out of Queen Elizabeth to tamper their farms. Good evening. Thank you for joining us. This is Business Today. I'm Rana Habwe together with Winnie Buyinza Nakawuchi for the sign language interpretation. Thank you for having joined us tonight. Now, those were our top stories, and to begin with the SACCOs and how they have dragged Bank of Uganda to court. Uganda Cooperative Savings Credit Union Limited has, through its lobby and advocacy committee, dragged Bank of Uganda to court challenging legality for SACCOs to be regulated by the Central Bank. The originating summon has achieved 17th August as the date for hearing, as the court is under vacation for business to be effectively transacted.
Uganda Cooperative Savings and Credit Union Limited has, through its lawyers, Maria Advocates, dragged Bank of Uganda and the Attorney General, Kiriwa Chiwanuka, to court. The aggrieved SACCOs have commenced civil action against the two parties following the Central Bank's move to regulate registered societies with voluntary savings in excess of 1.5 billion shillings and institutional capital exceeding 500 million.
It's not a worry for us to be regulated by the Central Bank. Actually, when you look at our submissions, we raise some issues. If the Central Bank can address our issues, then we have no problem. And among our issues, we are saying, no, the SACCOs need a single regulator, whether it is Bank of Uganda, whether it is the Ministry of Trade Cooperatives and Industry, whether it is UMRA, we have no problem. If court can pronounce itself on who the regulator for the single regulator for SACCO is, then we can sit down with that regulator and we deal with our concerns under the law that will be implemented by that regulator. So it's not that yes, we are worried, of course, because we feel that Bank of Uganda is not friendly to cooperatives. When you look at the institutions which are already regulated under the MDI Act, those are the Fincas, those are Pride, Ugaford, those are basically companies whose focus is on profit.
In the originating summon filed at the Civil Division of the High Court, Uganda Cooperative Savings and Credit Union Limited seeks court's determination on the validity on the 2023 MDI Amendment Act, on which the Central Bank benchmarks to serve oversight over the SACCOs in an already congested regulatory framework that players disapprove.
Instructions from our client, we have filed an application in the High Court seeking the interpretation of a few questions in the law. We have a problem of multiple regulation where Bank of Uganda is regulating certain SACCOs. You have Uganda Microfinance Regulatory Authority also regulating a few SACCOs. Then you have another person in the Ministry of Trade called the Register of Cooperatives regulating and supervising a few things in those SACCOs. So arising out of that conflict, the client thought it necessary that we needed to seek the interpretation of court. First of all, the Attorney General gave a different opinion. The Attorney General gave a different opinion, confirmed by the Solicitor General, but the provisions of the law have also given us a different opinion. So it is.
In an interview with Uganda Microfinance Regulatory Authority in May, Vanessa Muhwezi, the authority's manager microfinance institutions, illustrated how the Tier 4 institution space has grown since 2017 to currently record over 146 licensed savings and credit cooperative societies.
Banking, we have seen a growth in money lending sector. We have licensed over 1,000 institutions. We have licensed 208 non-deposit-taking microfinance institutions. We have licensed over 146 circles, and as the authority, we managed to issue our operational guidelines for self-help.
According to the Savings Union chairperson, approved provisions in the amended act barely lay ground for BOU's intervention. Beyond this, he identifies SACCOs as non-commercial financial institutions, despite handling finance-related matters that the central bank finds interest in.
Parliament unanimously agreed that the microfinance deposit-taking institutions is not the suitable role for SACCOs, and subsequently, all the provisions which sought to bring SACCOs under the MDI Act, that's the Microfinance Deposit-Taking Institutions Act, were deleted. And the bill which was devoid of those provisions for SACCOs was subsequently passed on to the President, who assented to the new act. So when you look at the Microfinance Deposit-Taking Institutions Act of 2023, it does not have anything to do with registered societies. Those are SACCOs. But we are surprised that Bank of Uganda went ahead and gazetted the regulations which are purportedly made under the Microfinance Deposit-Taking Institutions Amendment Act of 2023.
As SACCOs pursue legal action against Bank of Uganda's move, August 17th has been set for primary hearing of the suit that seeks autonomy from the central bank's oversight amidst a challenging regulatory regime. Ivan Tibenkana, SMART24 TV, Business Today.
All right, now looking at what's new with the digital number plates. Government has set November as a rollout month for the pricey digital number plates that sections of stakeholders in the transport industry maintain disagreement with appearing before the Committee on the Physical Infrastructure. Security Minister Jim Muhwezi cautioned the new technology or else the risk of imprisonment.
Government has bowed down to pressure from legislators and other stakeholders to bring down the price of digital number plates from 730,000 shillings to 150,000 shillings for motor vehicles and 50,000 shillings for border borders. I repeat, this amount is for only those number plates which are already existing and are registered.
Because there were those other socioeconomic considerations, like I already have a registration plate. I use a border which already is on the road, and maybe it has life cost is maybe about 3 years. So that's what informed this model of charging existing number plates 150 and then borders 50,000. But Chair,
just a second. Who did the costing study?
Minister of Finance. This study was done by Minister of Finance. And
according to government, this process begins early November, and they are going to start with Kampala, since most crime happens in and around Kampala. According to the Security Minister, all road users risk being arrested for failure to comply to this new technology.
Every means of transport on the road will have to be registered. Of course, if it's not registered, they will be arrested, because you cannot put a vehicle or any border on the road when it's not registered. Originally, we had said beginning of July that there were logistical problems. It couldn't happen. But by 31st of October, they will be ready to roll out. And we shall begin with Kampala for obvious reasons, because that's where most of the vehicles are, that's where most of the crime is committed.
The legislators have, however, expressed their fears over this new technology, which has never been used in any other country. According to them, Uganda is going to be a guinea pig for this new technology, and their fear is, just like the national ID process had issues, the same thing would happen to motor vehicle registration.
Where government was piloting national ID identification registration, I remember we got all IDs, and General Museveni was citizen number 1. After some time, they said the system that had been used had issues, and either fake, Arintu Mansambo and his team, the whole thing was overhauled. Now my prayer, Mr. Chairman, I'm not a prophet of doom, I'm just a member of parliament from Kalangala. Why don't we implement this thing in phases such that if it has issues, it does not get affected the same way national IDs had challenges? This is my wish, Mr. Chairman.
Chair, when you see people running away from benchmarking, it is an indication that this technology, somebody invented it and is looking for where to try it from. So, are we going to be the trying specimen? Are we going to be the litmus paper? And I wouldn't have issues with being a litmus paper, but whenever you are testing your technology from, in fact, they would pay us. Because they are doing trials in medicine, so these are clinical trials. They would pay us because they are trying their technology on us.
The Committee of Physical Infrastructure is due to present its report before the House over the digital number plates. And most of the legislators on the committee agree that the price is still high for Ugandans. Samlanifa, SMART24 TV, Business Today.
Now moving on to national lotteries, government through the Ministry of Finance has taken a bold step and awarded a 10-year national lottery operating license to Ithuba Uganda Limited as the company sets forth a $15 million investment in just 7 months. This collaboration between the South African subsidiary and Uganda has been termed by the Finance Minister, Matia Kasaija, as a beneficial in regards to revenue generation and job creation. Take a look.
The primary objective of the National Lottery is to bolster government revenue. This will be achieved through a percentage of gross sales coupled with gaming tax estimated to reach an impressive 87 billion shillings annually. Additionally, non-tax revenue is projected to contribute around 60 billion shillings, enhancing government's fiscal capacity. It should also be noted that Ithuba Uganda Limited will invest $15 million in 7 months.
A national lottery is one of the tools conducted by or on behalf of the ministry responsible for finance with a view of raising funds to defined purposes, i.e. good causes. Effective today, the government of Uganda will partner with the Ithuba Uganda Limited to conduct the national lottery for an exclusive period of 10 years subject to annual license conditions and fulfillment of conditions.
Took us more or less, we did a due diligence, and within about a year we knew, and we did a lot of spade work to understand the customer profile and to also understand whether the games will be acceptable and to localize the games. So in total it's about a journey of about 24 months just studying the market. So we're investing $15 million which will be spent within the next 6 to 7 months.
At its core, National Lottery represents a preferable alternative to traditional revenue generation methods. Nevertheless, there is an emphasis on responsible gaming. Engaging citizens through their voluntary participation creates a means of funding government and community services that is both economically sound and socially.
Be able to help raise revenue for this country. At least we are anticipating 147 billion per annum minimum, but we would like to have it more, and we are putting in mechanisms in place to make sure that we can be able to benefit the best for this country. But at the same time, we are also going to have support to good causes like education, like sports, health, and for sports infrastructure we would like to see, God willing, this national lottery helping us to build state-of-the-art stadia in this country.
A good contributor to these kinds of activities, health, education, environment, the arts. The arts also face a big problem with raising financing. So we contribute to taxes, and at the same time, part of the funds go to funding activities like those.
Launching of Uganda's National Lottery is a groundbreaking step towards a more prosperous and diverse economy for Uganda. The first of its kind, it is poised to contribute substantially to the GDP by creating over 1,700 jobs for the nationals and many other direct jobs. Bronya Katsime, SMART24 TV, Business Today.
Now, a big funding gap is believed to largely be hindering fintech growth, a key component in the performance of many sectors such as finance. Financial Technology Services Providers Association, together with Uganda Bankers Association, are in agreement to resolve the underlying challenges to fintech growth. According to Wilbrod Awol, conversation to fix gaps will be required further in the upcoming Bankers Conference that is benchmarked on trends and innovations in the fintech space that have transformed the banking sector. Pedson Mumbere reports. All right, now
Access
looking
to
at
funding
Lake
remains an obstacle of many fintechs, especially in the developing and emerging economies. Not all fintechs receive international funding, but those that do tend to position themselves with better visibility to local, regional, and international funders. According to a study by FITSPA on the start of the Uganda's fintech industry 2022, 57% of the funding, according to fintech respondents, come from self-funding. The upcoming 6th Annual Bankers Conference 2023, according to Wilbrod Award, the Executive Director, Uganda Bankers Association, shall speak to this hindrance.
So yes, until now, there could have been, limitations in how much funding is skewed and going to the fintech sector, but this has been growing tremendously. As you may know, fintechs are in different sizes and categories of growth. In the initial phases, there are elements of risk as they come up with innovations. And at that point, typical of our industry, which we are required to do, is to think through the risk aspects. What about if it doesn't work? Will money have gone to waste? Especially at the stages of research, experimenting, testing. However, over the period, we've tried to work with other partners, especially FITSPA. As you know, FITSPA is a huge partner in this particular conference, to see how do we overcome that.
For fintechs in Uganda to continue developing, alternative sources of funding need not just to be explored, but given an opportunity to expand. From the FITSPA online survey, respondents suggested a number of ways to improve fundraising in Uganda, such as creating a fintech product that addresses the current needs of consumers in the market. Awar says that as the banking sector, they are also working with the risk guarantee agencies because these fintechs are prone to risks.
Extend more facilities. We are also working with risk guarantee agencies so that they can cushion some portions of the risk aspects, like I've said, at innovation stages, so that should it not translate into what was intended, we work better. But you've seen that for those that have stabilized, they're doing huge business with the financial sector. Just by the volume that they are turning out alone, they become eligible for more credit.
Technology in terms of the apps. Today the banks are operating various applications that actually enable instant account opening. Now that again, the fintechs, we do play a part, especially with providing the technology to our partners who are the banks to be able to ease the onboarding process of a customer.
It should be noted that other surveyed countries, that's Kenya and Nigeria, lead the pack with 9.2% and 17.83 digital economy contribution, respectively. Speaking at a press conference held at the UBA head offices in Muyenga, Sarah Arapata, the Uganda Bankers Association chairperson, says that the 6th Annual Bankers Conference 2023 will take stock of the contribution that fintechs and other players in the financial ecosystem, including mobile network operators, make towards the growth and transformation of banking sector and financial services.
The theme is really around the trends and innovation in the fintech space, and the changing face of banking and the financial services. What the conference intends to really focus on this year is taking stock of the contributions of the financial techs or fintechs and the other players in the financial ecosystem, including mobile network operators, and the role they make towards, the role they play towards the growth and transformation of banking and financial services.
Globally, Uganda ranks 172nd on gross national income and 116th on the Net Readiness Index, that's according to the World Bank and Pollutants Institution, respectively. Bedson Mumbere, SMART24 TV, Business Today.
Added voice to Uganda's dire marine transport following the death of a student in Kabale last week. Concern has been heightened over the poor and insecure transport across Lake Bunyonyi as 29 islands forge means routine to obligations where business and education are currently threatened. Fuel shortage has inhibited efforts to even service the available motorboat as Kabale drags on survival.
While Lake Victoria districts are drowned in insecure marine transport that has infringed travel and business flow, in Kisoro, Lake Bunyonyi, home to 29 islands, communities are choking on poor, limited and insecure marine transport, where a fatal accident was registered just last week. To address such challenges where education and business is currently threatened, Chambogo University has donated 100 life jackets, among other logistics, to support uninterrupted progress in the community, where dugout canoes are the commonest transport avenues.
Being a day school, we face challenges of crossing the lake every day and evening, and because of that, on Friday we registered the death of our student in Senior 2 who drowned in the lake, and because he had no those life-saving gadgets, he had no life jacket and was crossing using a dugout canoe.
It affects the performance because in our school we don't learn morning and evening prep, because in the time for morning prep, the time we arrive here, and even the time for evening, the time we are departing. So they are not learning as the other children are learning from other schools.
Back in October 2021, Uganda Revenue Authority donated a motorboat designed for the purpose of transporting pupils. Despite its usefulness, there is a relentless outcry from the community regarding inadequate fuel supply and safety gear such as life jackets to sustain transport services.
The transport is very difficult because, especially the fuel, we have the volunteers who manage to give us boats. They drive children morning and evening, but we fail to get fuel to use.
We thank all those partners who provided the motorboats for Bugama Primary School to help the learners while crossing from home to school and from school back home. It is unfortunate that those boats need fuel, which sometimes is not available. So we urge all the parents whose children use the same boats to always have some contribution or to contribute something towards procuring the fuel to help the boat move. Otherwise, as a district, we don't have the budget specifically for Gama Primary School in regard to fuel. For us, all the schools are treated equally. They only receive capitation grant like any other school.
Despite efforts through the Maritime Administration Department to distribute life jackets to Lake Bunyonyi shore and island communities, there is growing pressure to streamline inland marine transport across several water bodies. Norbert Ndiamhachi, Bronya Katsime, SMART24 TV, Business Today.
Thank you, Norbert Ndiamhachi, for that report. It will now usher us into a short break, but we will return with more. Stick around.
SMART24, driving business.
Cooking oil like no other makes your meal so sweet and scrumptious. The taste of Uganda, yeah, the taste of Uganda, the taste of Uganda, yeah, I want ya.
Everybody for you. I did your shake bello. What is up on bello? Bello. Wow, that's brilliant! That is magnificent!
Luxury redefined at Seasan Hotel as you indulge in the splendor of elegant living fit for the royalty that you are. Step into comfort, pampering and blissful customer-centric service as you select from our range of comfy, exquisite living quarters furnished to meet with your royal preference. Surrounded by scenic beauty, our tropical setting allows you to escape the glamorous ordeal of city life. Our ambient green gardens will guide you to a place of revitalizing rest. The 3-star restaurant caters to your palate, serving your choice menu ranging from exotic cuisines to local delicacies. Our chefs will serve you full-course meals for a truly out-of-this-world culinary experience. Our fully stocked bar to whet your throat, from renowned global brand whisks, brandies, gins, beers and wines to our locally celebrated beverages, you will not lack for any brewage. It's an all-new experience in the East at Seasan Hotel. So visit today at plot 15 to 19 Spire Road, Ginger, or contact us on +256 751 719 960 and +256 785 354 614 for reservations. Seasan Hotels, luxury redefined.
And in talking news, MTN has improved on their data voice bundles. You can now call across all networks for the same price. We've talked to several eyewitnesses on the ground, and this is what one of them had to say. Amos, did you hear about the MTN daily voice bundles? So, to join many more other Ugandans enjoying these MTN daily voice bundles, dial *100 *21# or use the My MTN app to start enjoying. Stay tuned for more offers from MTN.
In a world where trade drives economic growth and development, Africa is now embracing a new era of intracontinental trade through the African Continental Free Trade Area to unleash its immense potential. Witness the spirit of entrepreneurship as African businesses forge a way into partnership and venture beyond their borders in a single African market. Discover the innovative solutions being initiated and created to address challenges and seize opportunities in sustainable agriculture, renewable energy, and technological advancements. We expand our lens to showcase the efforts and success of economic integration across the entire African continent, from West Africa to East Africa, North Africa to Southern Africa, Central Africa, and even the diaspora, as the tapestry of unity grows stronger with each story we tell. African Perspective, driving business and trade across Africa. Don't miss the African perspective on SMART24 every Monday, Wednesday and Friday at exactly 6 p.m. East African Standard Time as we drive business and trade across Africa. Download the Smart Digital app on Play Store and enjoy your favorite TV shows, documentaries, and radio in your palm on the go.
SMART24, driving business.
You will be back from that short commercial break. Thank you for sticking with us on Business Today. Now, following the growing concern over insecure marine travel, opposition members from the island districts have demanded that government sets up a special fund for water transport as it is with other road transport and other disaster management funds. Mounting pressure is inspired by a recent accident that claimed more than 20 Ugandans and their property.
At least 5 marine officers survived death when their boat capsized on Sunday, while they were attempting to find 15 missing victims of an August 2nd boat accident on Lake Victoria. 15 bodies have so far been retrieved from the lake. While addressing the media today, members of the opposition, led by their shadow cabinet minister for fisheries, have expressed their dissatisfaction with how government has handled the rescue process.
That we as islanders, we as representatives of the islanders are not satisfied by the way government does its work, especially as far as water transport is concerned. About that incident, we thought the Marine Police was doing its best to help our people retrieve the bodies. Unfortunately, when we got there, as members of parliament, especially those of us who hail from the islands, it was so absurd that what we expected is not what we found. Most of our people are the ones who are retrieving these bodies.
According to the legislators, government has totally neglected water transport, yet Parliament passed money to establish rescue centers, which up to now are not in place to address water accidents.
We demand, as members of parliament from the fishing communities, that government builds rescue centers in all districts as money was given to government. We borrowed a loan. This parliament allowed the government to borrow a loan to build the rescue centers. And these rescue centers were meant to provide guidelines and also monitoring movement of vessels on the lake. Without these rescue centers, even when an accident or immediate intervention could be done, government has no mechanism of monitoring all vessels plying on the waters. We also demand that government, for the last 37 years, the NRM government has been in power. It has neglected water transport so much that there are no vessels doing interconnectivity on our islands.
These have demanded that government sets aside a budget for water users, just like it has done for the road users. The MPs have also requested that the regulations for the fisheries and aquaculture bill be tabled before Parliament because it is now 7 months since the President assented to the bill, which is now an act.
Like any other sectors, the road transport provides for the budget for road maintenance. The people in the mountainous regions, during landslides, mass wasting, and anything of any disastrous effect, the budget is always provided for. Why can't the government provide a budget that would be used to buy life jackets and provide them to the fishermen as a bonus, because they are aware their transport route does not take any cost of maintenance from the government, in order to prepare it and streamline it for for government to absorb taxes.
We went ahead and passed the fisheries bill, where Mwami Museveni has sent it to the bill, and it is now an act. But it is coming to something like 7 months. The regulations have not been put in place, and I think if the regulations are put in place, I think every party was designed their roles on what to do on the lake. But now we are finding challenges that now, like the marine police, which is supposed to do a lot of monitoring on the lake, they are also engaging in fishing. Like, for example, in Buvuma district, we're having marine police in Samba, where they are also confiscating fish in the name of fighting illegal fishing. Yet it is not their mandate. So we called upon the government to come up clearly to bring these regulations, which will help us define the roles of each and every one on the lake.
During the months of June, July and August, Lake Victoria experiences strong and dangerous winds, yet most of the trees which would have somehow brought down the force of the winds on the islands have been cut down to create space for agricultural farming, making it difficult to traverse the lake during this season. SMART24 TV, Business Today.
Several agricultural establishments in Nyakatozi, Kasese district are currently on the verge of depletion as wildlife in Queen Elizabeth National Park run riot, destroying crops and in turn subjecting farmers to substantial loss. Farmers have subsequently requested for a construction of a protective fence around the park, which is similar to other measures that have been put in the neighboring areas. All has been in vain. Take a look.
Farmers in Nyakatonzi, Kasese district are challenged as elephants, antelopes among other wild animals break out of Queen Elizabeth National Park only to destroy crops. The incursions by wildlife isn't only crippling valuable produce but also severely impacting household incomes as game park boundaries are broken and fields ravaged. Nyakatonzi is the heart of government, and we wonder why UWA doesn't install protective wire nets like they did in other communities.
Tegeza government
We are notifying government about these animals because we genuinely require assistance. These creatures are causing damage to our crops.
School fees nebanza, abana nibenda kulya. Sento kaziha mu kitebe ekyasako omu kitweka cyawe kyokwikaramu.
Our situation becomes even more dire because wild animals destroy our crops, leaving us in a state of distress. Unfortunately, the money used for planting crops comes from loans obtained from SACCOs. Despite our challenges, UWA has not provided any assistance to us. According to Matia Kisembo, Bwanika village chairperson, numerous property has been damaged by uncontrollable park animals and no compensation has been received to date.
Katutusaba, UWA na government bakole ewaya mangu.
I urge government with assistance from UWA to swiftly erect protective nets, considering losses of both crops and even lives. Additionally, we are seeking compensation for the damages incurred. If they don't gazette the park, we may consider an alternative approach of confronting these animals, even if it means facing the risk of harm.
Kasese District Commissioner Hamna Twera confirms that Nyakatonzi isn't the only affected area. Karusandara, Nakiyumbu and Kisinga are also ravaged. He further adds that they are in talks with Uganda Wildlife Authority officials to resolve the problem at hand.
So it is still a very big challenge in Nyakatonzi, Nyakiyumbu, Neisango and parts of Lake Katwe with Kisinga sub-county. Bogende Karusandara chechimu. Naye as government
often game communities have had to settle for damages inflicted by wild animals. Farmers have in turn demanded construction of a net fence around the reserve as a window to protect agro-production in the area. Kate Namgera, Bronya Katsime, SMART24 TV, Business Today.
All right, we've come to the end of business today. Thank you for having joined us tonight. Before I sign out, here's what topped our focus tonight. In business today, SACCOs have dragged Bank of Uganda and the Attorney General to court as they challenge Central Bank to bring them under their regulation. Ministry of Works and Transport confirms rollout of pricey digital number plates for November. Kampala will be ground. And in Kasese, Nyakatozi farmers record losses as elephants and antelopes break out of Queen Elizabeth to tamper their farms. Well, there you have it. That's pretty much it what we had for you today on Business Today. Be sure to tune in tomorrow same time. And if you miss any of these reports, you could watch on our YouTube channel at SMART24 TV Live. Follow on our social media platforms to be up to date with the latest business news within the region. You have a good evening. I'm Rona Nahabwe together with Winnie Wins and Naka Oji for the sign language.